economic event. Radio Algeria International, our voice in the world.
This is the English service of Radio Algeria International. It's time for the news.
The President of the Republic, Mr. Abdelmajid Tebboune, has received here in Algiers the special envoy of the President of the Federal Republic of Somalia, Farah Sheikh Abdul Qadir Mohammed. Somali envoy Farah Sheikh Abdul Qadir Mohammed carried a written message from the President of the Federal Republic of Somalia, Mr. Hassan Sheikh Mohammed, in which he expressed deepest gratitude and appreciation for Algeria's leading role in supporting just causes in Africa and the Arab world. The US-backed plan to end the war in the Gaza Strip has entered its second phase with the creation of a Palestinian Governance Committee. And Yemeni Prime Minister Salim Saleh bin Buraik has resigned and been replaced by his foreign minister to manage day-to-day affairs until a new government is formed in the country. Those were the headlines, and now the news in detail from Radio Algeria International. First in our news, the President of the Republic, Mr. Abdelmajid Tebboune, has received here in Algiers the special envoy of the President of the Federal Republic of Somalia, Minister of Education and Higher Education, Mr. Farah Sheikh Abdul Qadir Mohammed, and his accompanying delegation. The meeting was attended by the Director of the Presidential Cabinet, Boualem, the Advisor to the President of the Republic for Diplomatic Affairs, Ammar Abba, and the Minister of National Education, Mohammed Sagher Sadawi. More details in this report with our colleague Mariam Barshi.
In a statement to the press following his meeting with the President of the Republic, Mr. Abdelmajid Tebboune, the special envoy said he delivered a written message from the President of the Federal Republic of Somalia, Mr. Hassan Sheikh Mohammed, expressing his deepest gratitude and appreciation for Algeria's leading role in supporting just African and Arab causes.
Today, I met with His Excellency, the President of the People's Democratic Republic of Algeria, President Abdelmajid Tebboune. May Allah protect him and preserve him. And I handed him a written message from His Excellency, the President of the Federal Republic of Somalia, Dr. Hassan Sheikh Mohammed, in which he expressed utmost thanks and appreciation for Algeria's leading role in supporting just African and Arab causes, and affirmed the Republic of Somalia's gratitude for Algeria's steadfast support for the unity and sovereignty of Somalia.
He added that the message included the Republic of Somalia's appreciation for Algeria's unwavering support for the unity and sovereignty of Somalia, considering this a fundamental pillar of African and Arab national security, and its categorical rejection of any attempts to undermine its territorial integrity, highlighting President Abdelmajid Tebboune's firm support for Somalia's efforts aimed at strengthening security and stability in Africa and in the Arab world.
For his part, His Excellency President Abdelmajid Tebboune reaffirmed his country's unwavering support for the Republic of Somalia and its steadfast commitment to stand in by Somalia in defending its unity, sovereignty and territorial integrity, rejecting the so-called cessation and the recognition of these territories by the occupying authorities, and supporting Somalia's efforts to promote security and stability in Africa and the Arab world.
The special envoy also noted that the message outlined Somalia's clear position regarding certain regional policies and interventions, particularly those of the United Arab Emirates, which contribute to undermining Somalia's unity and fueling separatist conflicts, thus posing a direct threat to security, stability and unity in both the African and Arab spheres.
The message also clarified Somalia's position regarding certain regional policies and interferences, foremost among which are the practices of the United Arab Emirates that contribute to undermining Somalia's unity and fueling separatist conflicts, thus posing a direct threat to peace, stability and unity in both the African and Arab spheres alike.
In a related context, Mr. Farah Sheikh Abdul Qadir Mohammed explained that the meeting with the President of the Republic comes as a follow-up to the outcomes of the Somali president's previous visit to Algeria and the resulting political agreements, understandings and accords reaffirming the deep fraternal relations between the two brotherly countries and their shared commitment to strengthening coordination and ongoing consultation. He emphasized the importance of unifying African and Arab positions and enhancing joint coordination within regional and international frameworks to confront current challenges and reject any external interference that infringes upon the sovereignty and territorial integrity of Somalia.
ويأتي هذا اللقاء في إطار متابعة مخرجات الزيارة الرئاسية السابقة لفخامة.
This meeting comes as a follow-up to the outcomes of the previous presidential visit of His Excellency President Sheikh Hassan Mohamud to Algeria and the ensuing understandings, agreements and political accords affirming the depth of the fraternal relations between the two brotherly countries and their shared commitment to strengthening coordination and continuous consultation. Both sides stress the importance of unifying African and Arab positions and enhancing joint coordination with regional and international frameworks to confront current challenges and reject any external interference that affects the sovereignty and territorial integrity of states.
It's worth noting that the high-level delegation from the Federal Republic of Somalia, headed by the special envoy of the President of the Federal Republic of Somalia, Farah Sheikh Abdul Qadir Mohammed, was received by the Minister of State, Minister of Hydrocarbons and Mines, Mohammed Arqab, who expressed Algeria's commitment to supporting Somalia's efforts in developing the hydrocarbon sector, particularly through the expertise of Sonatrach Group and the Algerian Petroleum Institute, IAP.
Still in our country, the Secretary of State to the Minister of National or Foreign Affairs in charge of the national community abroad, Sofian Shaib, has participated in a ministerial working visit paid by the African Union High-Level Committee on South Sudan, which took place in the capital, Juba, on Wednesday and Thursday. A statement issued by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs indicated that the visit is part of the African Union's support for the peace process in South Sudan and the follow-up on the implementation of the provisions of the revitalized peace agreement signed in 2018, particularly in light of the important events related to completing the transitional process in the country and holding the first elections since independence. The visit also contributes to the preparations for the discussions on the situation in South Sudan, which are expected to be held on the occasion of the 39th ordinary session of the Assembly of Heads of State and Government of the African Union to be held in Addis Ababa in February 2026. During his remarks, the Secretary of State reiterated Algeria's unwavering support for the sovereignty and unity of South Sudan and its continued solidarity with the country during this critical historical juncture. He also highlighted Algeria's pivotal role at both international and African levels in supporting sustainable solutions in South Sudan, emphasizing that the full implementation of the revitalized peace agreement remains the most appropriate approach to achieving national reconciliation and overcoming the delicate security and humanitarian situation currently facing South Sudan, as stated in the ministry's press release. And the Ministry of War Veterans and Right Holders has organized a ceremony at the National Army Club in Beni Messous in suburbs Algiers to honor the winners of the 30th edition of the November 1st, 1954 prize competition. The ceremony was attended by senior state officials and representatives of national bodies as well as civil society organizations and members of the revolutionary family. In his address, the Minister of War Veterans and Right Holders, Abdul Malik Tashrift, called on young people to read national history and outlook the future with a responsible perspective. This will enable them to strengthen the internal front, unite ranks, thwart those who seek to undermine the nation's security and stability, and confront the hostile plots targeting Algeria. The minister added that victorious Algeria is today moving forward steadily under the leadership of the President of the Republic, Mr. Abdelmajid Tebboune, in fulfillment of the pledge of the martyrs and their pure souls, and inspired by the eternal message embodying the aspirations of the Algerian people for development and prosperity. Shifting now to the Middle East, where the U.S.-backed plan to end the war in the Gaza Strip has entered its second phase with the creation of a Palestinian Governors Committee, but also with a number of outstanding issues. Jamal Silmani has more details.
According to the U.S. envoy for the Middle East, Steve Witkoff, Phase 2 is intended to lead to the reconstruction of the Gaza Strip, but residents, aid workers and Hamas regularly deplore the lack of concrete measures to begin this substantial endeavor. The UN stressed on Thursday the urgent need to act in the face of the total destruction in Gaza, arguing that residents are living in inhuman conditions. Under the second phase, Gaza is to be administered by a 15-member Palestinian technocratic committee operating under the supervision of the Peace Council, a body chaired by Mr. Trump. Arab Parliament Speaker Mohammed al-Yamahi welcomed the announcement of the completion of a Palestinian National Committee to administer the Gaza Strip, describing the move as an important step toward restoring stability, improving humanitarian conditions, and preparing the transition to the second phase of the ceasefire agreement. In a statement, al-Yamahi expressed deep appreciation for the sincere and intensive efforts deployed by Egypt, Qatar, and Turkey, as well as the sponsorship of the United States to reach this Palestinian national understanding. He stressed the need to compel the Israeli occupation to fully respect the agreement and to completely withdraw from the Gaza Strip in a manner that consolidates calm and paves the way for early recovery and reconstruction. He also called for the opening of all crossings without restrictions to ensure safe and sustained entry of humanitarian relief and medical aid to all parts of Gaza in order to meet the urgent needs of the population. Mr. Yamani also held the occupation fully responsible under international law for any violation of the ceasefire agreement or obstruction of its implementation. Meanwhile, a Palestinian woman was killed today and several others were wounded by Israeli occupation forces in Khan Yunis, south of the Gaza Strip. The Palestinian news agency Wafa reported the Israeli army also carried out major demolition operations in Rafah, south of Gaza, according to the same source. On Thursday, 11 Palestinians were killed in airstrikes carried out by Israeli occupation forces in several areas of the Gaza Strip. The Zionist genocidal aggression against the Gaza Strip has resulted in at least 71,441 martyrs and 171,329 wounded, mostly women and children, since the start of the Israeli genocidal war on October 7, 2023, according to the latest provisional figures from the Palestinian health authorities.
Another bipartisan group of members of the U.S. Congress is visiting Denmark in what is seen as a show of support in the face of increasing pressure from President Donald Trump for the U.S. to annex the semi-autonomous region of Denmark in the Arctic. The 11-member delegation is due to meet MPs as well as Danish Prime Minister and her Greenlandic counterpart. The visit comes after or days after high-level talks in Washington failed to persuade or dissuade President Donald Trump, who insists Greenland is vital for U.S. security and that Denmark cannot defend it against possible Russian or Chinese attacks. And Myanmar insisted Friday that its deadly military campaign against the Rohingya ethnic minority was a legitimate counterterrorism operation and did not amount to genocide, as it defended itself at the top United Nations court against the accusation of breaching the Genocide Convention. Myanmar launched the campaign in Rakhine State in 2017. Security forces were accused of mass rapes, killings, and burning thousands of homes as more than 700,000 Rohingya fled into neighboring Bangladesh. Gambia brought a case at the court in 2019, arguing that Myanmar's military actions amount to a breach of the Genocide Convention that was drawn up in the aftermath of World War II. With this, we come to the end of this news bulletin. Time now for our weekly programs. We'll leave you with that, and we'll meet you again tomorrow for a fresh edition of our news bulletin in English. Until then, stay tuned to Radio Algeria International, and bye-bye for now.
Janet is an oasis city in southeast Algeria. It is located in Elezi province, 412 kilometers from Elezi. It is inhabited by the Kel Ager Tuareg people. It is the capital of Janet district. In the heart of the Sahara,